Hello, everyone. It is Gina from Gina K Designs, and welcome to Stampin' Chat Live. We're going to have a fun crafternoon today, and we'd like to welcome everybody coming in from all around the world. Whew, we made it. Today, we are going to have some fun because we are going to use a die in a completely different way, a way it wasn't meant to be used. But I was watching another crafter friend of mine. I was watching Kathy Zilski, and I saw her doing a card, and she was using a die that was cut out. It was designed for this particular use. And I thought, that looks like something else that I have in my collection, and I want to see if I can make it work. So I thought we could try it together today. But before we get started, let's say hello to Tom. Hey, Tom.
Happy crafternoon, everybody.
How are you doing?
Doing okay today, better than horrible.
Well, so I was telling everybody in our group this morning that our internet was down and we didn't know if we were going to be able to make it. But unfortunately, half of our building is down. Our customer service phones are down. Our shipping department is down. Our customer service computers are down. But for some reason, our little studio here in the front of the building was spared and we are able to live stream. So we get to be with you today, although if some of you are trying to get a hold of customer service, just be a little bit patient. We have our IT people here now trying to resolve the issue.
Yes, and if we disappear from the screen unexpectedly,
he pulled the wrong plug.
Hang in there, yes.
Yeah. But hopefully this is all going to work. Let's hope so. But anyway, and Tom, you'll be back a little bit later?
Okay.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, okay, so let me show you the die that I was looking at. So I don't know if you guys have seen this die set. This is called our Elegant Cross die set. And it is a beautiful die set to create cards for sympathy, weddings, christenings, Easter, anything like that. And I think it's a beautiful, beautiful die set. And I highly recommend it. But I normally wouldn't use a cross for a Christmas card because that is not exactly the right season for that. But I was looking at this and I thought that I could turn this into a gift. So that's what I plan to do today. So let's just push this aside. And I thought that I would use some Polyglaze today. Now, this is not about the foiling. But I am going to foil just because it's always great to have a refresher when it comes to foiling. And I have to have some kind of patterned background. So I'm using our Berries and Vines, our Petite Flourish, and our Winter Snow Poly-Glaze sheets to do 3 different kinds of patterns. Now, you could use pattern paper for this. You can create your own pattern paper if you want. Tom, can you pop me up in the corner? You can use alcohol inks. You can use embossing powder to create shine instead. You could do whatever you want. I just thought it would be fun to pull out the foil because I haven't done a foiling video in a little while. And we did just get these new white Polyglaze sheets in, so I thought I might make a little use of those as well. Okay, so I am going to foil some pattern papers first. And I wanted to show you a little trick that our friend Jennifer McGuire showed in the video that she and I did together. And I think it's a really, really fun little trick, and it would be fun to show it to you. So I'm going to just take one of these Polyglaze sheets out here. This is the Berries and Vines. And I'm going to get a blending brush, and I have some blue denim ink. I don't know that I want to use blue denim, though. Let me see what else I have. I think I might want to use, like, Tranquil Teal. Let's see. Let me grab that. Okay, so this video is full of different little techniques too that you'll be able to pick up about foiling. But again, it's not about the foiling. It's about this die technique. And like I said, this is inspired by my friend Kathy Z. And I see Kathy Z in the comments. Hey, Kathy, thank you for joining us today. She was teaching a class and she did this. And but she didn't do this technique. Well, she did a technique like it, but it was a die that was very similar to the cross die. Okay, so I'm going to use some Tranquil Teal here, and I wanted to show you this. I don't know if you guys know, but can you see that? Polyglaze will resist ink. So if you just want a very soft background, this is very much like Emboss Resist. Isn't that beautiful? So pretty. And it's so soft. That's what I love about this. It's just so soft. So if you've got your Polyglaze with you, but you don't have your laminator with you, or you just wanted to try Polyglaze for this technique, this is a great way to use it. I know the cross is a great die. It really is. And it's so beautiful. It's so detailed. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's cut out. It's really pretty, isn't it? I just cut that one in red. I love that. It's so pretty. So we do have our camera just a little bit darker than we usually do today on purpose because it makes it so much easier to see the shine of the foil. And I want you to be able to get the full effect. But you can see I am just doing ink blending all over this. And I love this look. So this is definitely something that you can try with your Polyglaze. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you is I wanted to show you that if let's say you do this and you're like, you know, I like this, but I wish I had some foil on there. You can foil after. We don't recommend that you always do it that way. I kind of like the shadiness of this. I'm not going to try to get it too smooth there because I really like that. In fact, I might add a little bit of this blue in here just to be fancy. I'm going to add just a tiny bit in here. Ooh, yes. That's really pretty. Isn't that nice? Just have that little extra kind of, it makes it a little bit cooler looking, like chilly cool. That's a beautiful combination. And I have a foil color that I think will be perfect for this. The Brilliant Blue has that little bit of the deeper blue, but it also has that little bit when you turn it, that little holographicness about it is more of a turquoise. So I have a paper towel here that I'm going to use, and I am going to just rub over the surface of this. You see how it gets brighter when you rub over the surface? Because you're actually rubbing the ink off of the Polyglaze because it's just sitting up on top of the Polyglaze. But then I'm going to show you something else. I love this pattern too. It's such a beautiful pattern. And what's kind of nice about these types of patterns is like this one could be used for just about anything. If you wanted to turn this into a birthday card, it just has a very, you know, clean foliage look about it. But if you want to make it a holiday card, it certainly has the berries and vines kind of feel to it. Okay, so I just removed that. Now, normally, if I was going to ink blend over this, I might Polyglaze first. But I'm going to cut this in half because I want to show you that we can foil it as well. So this is 5.5 inches. So I'm going to cut it at 2 3/4 inches. That's about half. Okay. And then I've got my fuse off to the side here, all heated up. And I'm going to get some sparkling silver. Let me find the sparkling silver. Here it is. Sparkling silver foil. So I think I will do, no, let me do it in a plain because I'm going to use a sparkling one, a shiny one for my technique today. So let me use sterling. I'll use sterling. So it'll just be a little bit more plain. So I have a piece of sterling here and I'm going to take my Swiffer duster And I'm going to dust all over the surface of that to remove any dust that is on there. And then I'm going to take a piece of sterling foil and I'm going to dust the back of that as well. You always want to make sure you dust in between because that will eliminate anything that will block the fusion of the foil. Let me see, will this fit? No. Okay. You don't want anything to impede that fusion of the foil to your polyglaze. And the thing about it is it just takes a tiny speck of dust. And this works for hot foiling too. So I kind of recommend dusting no matter what foil you're using because it's going to be harder for it to adhere. But especially with toner style or polyglaze style foiling, because you definitely don't want anything to block between the polyglaze, your toner sheets, and your foil. Okay, so now I'm going to put this into my carrier sheet. And then I'm going to send this, try to get on there right. I'm going to send this through the fuse. So let me get the fuse here in the mix. Here it is. And I'm going to send it through with the fold going in first. Now I have my fuse set on 3. Some people are telling me that they like to set theirs on 4, depending on what they're foiling. So some toner sheets are a lot thicker. Our polyglaze works great on setting 3. Okay, so this is coming through now. And I'm going to get that. We're going to do some die cutting soon with this die. Now, the other die set that I want to use, I don't know if you guys have seen this one before, but this is called our holiday toppers. And it's got toppers to make ornaments. It's got toppers that work with the ornaments like this. So if you wanted to have like a little bow on that ornament, then you just put a shape down here like a circle or an oval or a photo, whatever you want. But these also work for the tops of gifts too. So we're going to use it for that today. Okay, so I sent this through. We're going to give it just a second to cool. And then here we go. And look at that beautiful foil. Isn't that so pretty? So that is going to be one piece that we're going to use today. Okay. Now let's make another one. Let's pick a different pattern. Let's pick the snowflakes. And I'm going to cut half of a snowflake. Might as well save the other half so I can use it for something else. So for this one, I think I want to do red. So let me get a red blending brush here. And then I'm going to use the color Red Velvet for this. And let's just see what it looks like with just the white snowflakes. If you guys have a fuse and you haven't gotten it out of the box, I'm coming to your house today and we are going to take it out of the box together. I mean, that's it. Just kidding. I would like to, though. I would love to get you to open your box and try it because you'll love it.
Okay, a couple of quick questions.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Jessica asks, can you use other media like watercolor or alcohol markers to color the polyglaze and then foil?
So I don't know the answer to that. I'm not 100% sure on that. So I don't want to say yes or no. But I'm thinking something like alcohol markers sticks to anything. So it won't resist. You would be able to use water-based markers, but alcohol markers are meant to stick onto non-porous surfaces, and the polyglaze is non-porous, and that's why it resists the ink. So if you try that, I think what's going to happen is it's going to be stuck onto your design. Now, watercolor, you could use watercolor. I don't think that would be a big problem, although I don't know how that would affect the paper itself. It might make it pill a little bit because this is not a watercolor paper. So I'm thinking that your best bet is ink and dye ink, not a pigment ink. So you can see the snowflakes are getting nice and bright here. So I'm trying to decide if I actually want to do that or if I want to do these two. And I think I'm going to do these two, but I did want to show you that you could foil afterwards. I am going to do some foiling, but I'm going to do foiling for my decorative parts.
And Jan wants to know, she has naturally oily fingertips. Will fingerprints impact the foiling?
You know, it shouldn't. I haven't had any problem, and I have lotion on my hands right now, so I don't think it's going to be a problem. But I mean, if you're really, really oily, you might want to, I don't know, maybe I would just try it and see. It doesn't seem like it's going to be a big problem. But if there is a problem with that, you could put a little thin, glove on or something when you're actually handling it. But it's not that delicate that it wouldn't work. I don't think you're going to have a problem. I do have lotion on my hands right now. So here is the Petite Flourish. And I think this is another great pattern here. And I'm going to cut a half a sheet of this down, because this way I don't have to use the whole thing. If I want to do a different color, I can do that. Okay. And we're going to do this with Lucky Clover. Yeah, you could wear like a, those like the kinds of gloves that we were all buying during COVID to touch things. You could probably keep a pair of those in your craft room. And that wouldn't be bad anyway, because I have those in my craft. They're like nitrile, I think. I have those in my craft room for when I do alcohol inks, because I just get ink all over everything. And, I'm very messy. So it prevents me from getting too inky. So you could try something like that. Why wouldn't you just stamp the image since you're not foiling? I am going to be foiling in a minute. And I could just stamp this image, but I really like these patterns in this Polyglaze, and I don't have any patterns. I want 3 different delicate type patterns. So I'm just choosing to use these this way so that I can also show you this technique that you can do this. So like, let's say you wanted 1 layer of this. Let's say you had a background and you were mixing 2 different parts together. You wanted a background that looked something like this. You could foil one with the green foil with the white background, and then you could just do the resist on the other piece for the back part. And that would give you the same pattern, but 2 completely different looks. So that's why I'm using Polyglaze today, because I love Polyglaze even for other things. You don't necessarily always have to foil it because it's so pretty. And we were even looking at the Snowflake pattern in the back room and how it's just shiny snowflakes and so delicate. And we were thinking that's actually a beautiful pattern by itself. If you wanted something very soft in the background, you didn't want any foil. It's soft like an embossing folder, but it actually gives you some shine, which is really neat. So there's lots of ways to use it. It's a multifaceted product, that's for sure. Okay.
All right. 2 quick questions.
Yes.
Cheryl wants to know, is there an incandescent clear foil thinking for just a sparkle on the snowflakes?
So, yes, there is. I don't have it, but ThermoWeb has one called Opal, and it's just an opalescent color that would be absolutely gorgeous on top. Yeah, it's their Opal one. Okay, so now we're going to do a little foiling on our white Polyglaze sheets. So I'm going to get a white Polyglaze sheet out here.
I'll answer this one.
Okay.
Jill wants to know, when will the next video be where Tom does the crafting? That would be when we recover from the last time that Tom did the crafting. Maybe we can go there.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I am going to measure this out. So I'm going to cut this to about 3 inches. You could make it smaller if you don't want to use the whole cross. I'm going to make one that's a little bit smaller, like at about 2 inches here. 2 1/4 maybe. But I'm saving one so that we can have one that's the full size so that you can see it. So these are our plain Polyglaze sheets. And I can keep that for something else. Definitely. We've got all kinds of bits and pieces, little dies that we can use these for. So I need to find 3 colors of foil that are going to work nicely with these 3 colors. So I'm going to use Radiant Red because I definitely want a sparkly red for this one. I'm going to do Brilliant Blue for this one, and I think that's going to look really pretty together. And then I'll use Glimmering Green for this one. And I know that's going to look really pretty together. Okay. Now, I am going to first polyglaze these 3 pieces of polyglaze. I'm going to foil these 3 pieces of polyglaze. I think I'll do the blue on the full one because I could see myself using a blue cross. I don't know that I would use a red cross or a green cross, but I would definitely use a blue cross. So I'm going to cut this down to fit. And the reason why you want to cut it down is because, like, even this little strip here, you can use this to do words. You can use this for, if you wanted to do a striped pattern down your polyglaze, you could do that. So just always trim it down and save whatever you can. And then I'm going to clean this piece of polyglaze. You have to make sure you're using the right side. So when you turn it into the light, this side, the back doesn't shine, the white shines. Make sure you're using the right side or you will just have white solid polyglaze stuck to your carrier sheet. And you do always want to make sure that your foil is just a little bit bigger than your polyglaze sheet, because if you don't, you will get polyglaze stuck to your carrier sheet. It's not the end of the world. The carrier sheet will still work, but it's nice to not have to deal with that. It keeps your carrier sheet nice and clean. Okay, so we're going to send this through the fuse. Let's send her through. Now, some people, when they're doing these kinds of things, they like to bump the heat up a little bit. It's not necessary at all. You don't have to bump the heat up. But if you want to, you certainly can. All right. So, Tom, do you want to throw me up in the corner there so I can be, hi. I like to see you guys. I feel like I can see you guys when you can see me. And it feels like it's better when I'm just talking and waiting for this to come through. Okay, so this came through on the other side here, and I'm just going to take this out and I'm going to let it cool for a minute, and you can see it's completely flat. Now we're going to do the other 2, so let me get rid of this. I hope I made enough room. Let me check. Oh yeah, plenty of room. Okay, so I'm going to do this glittering green one. And then again, I'm going to clean my polyglaze with my Swiffer duster. We are actually looking at trying to have Swiffer dusters in our store, because we know that a lot of you, especially my European friends, some of my European friends, my Australian friends, they don't have those there. But some kind of electrostatic dust cloth works. But I like to use a cloth because it doesn't just push the dust off, it grabs the dust and puts it onto the cloth. So I'm very fond of that. Okay, so let's get this in here. And I'm going to send it through the fuse again. And while that's going through, I'm going to take this one and clean it off, get some red foil, my Radiant Red, and we'll do that to this one. Now you can mass produce these little bits and pieces, and then when you want to just make a quick card, these work great for birthday cards, Christmas cards, any gift-giving occasion. I think this is the perfect card. It's great to see all of you here today. I know we weren't even sure if we were going to be able to go live with our internet being down. It's kind of scary this morning. It's still down in customer service, but they're working on it. Okay, I'm going to put this one aside to let it dry. And then I'm going to put these 2 together. When I say dry, I mean cool. It's not wet. It is a little wet though, because what actually happens is when you put this through your laminator, the polyglaze melts. And then the melted polyglaze grabs the foil. And then if you peel it too fast and it's not dried out again, sometimes the foil won't adhere properly. So if you do let it cool, you are actually letting it dry at the same time. So let's peel this one. There we go. Look at that. Gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. Okay. We'll peel this one because this one is cool. Oh, look at that. Okay. And then this one is coming out now. So we've got two. I think they're going to look really pretty with these, actually. Okay, so we're going to let this one cool. It's already peeling, though. You can see it's pretty dry. But we're going to, I've got foil flying everywhere. I'm trying to be neat and clean here, but, you know, it doesn't always work out. Okay.
Question, can you use pink tape to hold the foil in place?
Well, I think that you would be better off using something like Masking Magic, because Masking Magic does not pull the foil off. I've had the tape get pulled off. So, you know, this is so delicate that Masking Magic would work a little bit better. Okie dokie. Let me get rid of my blending brushes here so they're not in the way. And then we're going to do some die cutting. So let me get my die cutter out. I should probably move my fuse out of the way because I think I'm done foiling.
Okay, and can you use the flock on the Polyglaze?
Yes, you can. And if you missed Jennifer McGuire's live that we did together, we did a whole live featuring foiling. So if you go to her live and you watch that live, you'll see her use flock. And it's pretty cool. It does stick to it. The thing about flock, though, or plush paper is, I'm gonna just turn this a little bit so it's straight so it doesn't drive me nuts being crooked. The thing about plush paper or flock is you want to make sure that it's fuzzy side down onto the Polyglaze. It doesn't work exactly the same way as the, like with foil, you do the pretty side up. With flock, you do the pretty side down. Okay, so I'm going to put this up here like this cross, and then I am going to put it on one side here.
Which, of course, begs the question, what is flock?
Well, flock is like a fuzzy paper. So what did I do here? Oh, it's not even. Sorry. Flock is like a fuzzy paper. So it's really pretty for, I have this really tight. I don't think I need it that tight. Oh, there we go. It's really pretty for like the penguins. Remember the penguins that we had? And you want to do fuzzy little bodies, things like that. I'm going to cut this one more time. I just want to be sure that it's going to cut all the way. And I think I had part of that through, but I want to make sure it's nice and tight because this is a super detailed die. So let's make sure we get a good cut. Okay. All right. Okay, so that just fell out, but I'm still going to need this piece right here. I'm going to get my pick and stick tool to pop this out. Okay, let's see here. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, this is beautiful already.
A couple of people asked if you were cutting into the platform.
I am not. I'm cutting into the cutting mat. You always want to cut into the cutting mat, never into the platform. Okay, look at that. I may have cut into the platform. I've done it a couple times by accident. It won't hurt anything if you do it, but it just cuts better when you cut into the cutting mat. Oh, isn't that pretty? Now, I feel like I could use that as a cross, like for a wedding card. Like, let's say the bride's colors were blues. I could use that for a wedding card. I could use it for a christening card. If I didn't want to go with the all white look, I feel like blue looks good. I feel like red is too harsh. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I feel like red is too harsh. And I always turn my mat each time. Okay, I am going to have to pick all of these out, though. And I know that's going to take a minute. So let me do that quick over here. Let's see if I can drop it and get a lot of them out. Sometimes that helps, and then you can just see the last couple. I know that there's some cool tools. I think Spellbinders has a tool that's really cool, but dropping it worked pretty good here. Of course, it's a mess, but I'll just wipe that all onto the floor. There we go. Now I've got a pretty floor.
Does the intricate cut felt and acetate?
It does. It cuts anything that any die cutting machine will cut. So yeah, it shouldn't be a problem, but you might have to fiddle with the dial a little bit to get it nice and tight. Okay, so I'm going to put this again right here. It is blade side up. I'm going to cut the green piece now. I'm not worried about the whole cross for this one. And I've got the cutting mat. I think I'm going to cut them this way this time. Okay. Yeah, that did work great, didn't it? Okay. And this is the piece I actually want. This is the part of the cross that fell out. So I'm going to save the cross for something else, and I'm going to keep this piece right here. Okay. So I'm going to run it through one more time the opposite way just to be safe because it is such a delicate die. Yes, I do need a Roomba. I should have a Roomba running around this studio all the time. Okay. Ah, I moved it. All right. I moved it. I didn't look at it. It was already cut so well that I moved it. So let's do the red one, and then we'll refoil a piece of green. I'm only going to cut it one time. I don't know why I think I have to cut it twice. Maybe because it's such an intricate die, but this is the intricate, and it's cutting so well that I'm making more work for myself. We'll just do one time with the red. Okay. It's all right. It's live. That's what happens when you do a live. Sometimes. Okay. So you could see by dropping it a couple times, I got most of it out here. Maybe most of them will fall out easier if I don't cut it twice too. And this one last little one. And then we'll get this out. That's the piece that I wasn't so worried about because I didn't think I'd ever want a green cross or a red cross. But, you know, if I had done all these in silver, I think a silver cross would be gorgeous for a wedding. Don't you? I think it would be beautiful for a wedding card. Okay, so we'll try the other side here. Let me just get this one little piece out because you don't want to have anything in there. There we go. Okay, we'll do the red. Where'd my red go?
So we don't know anything about the fuse availability or intricate availability. We have to wait for that information. Correct?
We do. We have to wait. But I will tell you, just because you're watching today, so you guys get to know, I did get a notification from my freight forwarder that they actually completed making the machines tomorrow. They'll be done making the machines tomorrow. So that means that now we're dealing with it getting here, which sometimes takes a long time, but that's a really good sign that it's coming quickly. So you guys, because you watched today, you got the news. Okay. Who's screaming at me under your bottom plate? What are they telling me? Oh, yeah, thank you. You were right. It was under my bottom plate the whole time. You're right. Okay. I'm just dropping this off to the side here just to get as much of the... It's so nice about these steel dies. You can just beat them up and you get most of the stuff out. Because these intricate dies, they've got a lot of little bits and pieces to deal with. And if something doesn't come out and you poke it and it's still not out, then drop it again and you can see that's all clean.
And that was just for the fuse, right?
Just for the fuse. Yep, just for the fuse. The intricate, that order just went in as soon as it sold out. And we waited a day to get everybody who wanted one on the notify me list so we would know how many to order. And then we put our order in. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm going to do one more green one. I'm going to put this cross away, and we've got these two here. And then we're not done die cutting yet. We're still going to use the rest of this. We're still going to use the rest of this red, these pieces. And I don't know what I did with my green, but we're going to have a new green one. So we'll be good. So let me cut another piece of Polyglaze here. And I'll just do another 2-inch one, 2 1/4. I don't need it to be that big. You can see how fast this machine already warmed back up again. Yeah, I know everybody's excited about foiling, and I don't blame you. It is so much fun, you guys. And those of you that have your fuse machines and you haven't opened them yet, I think don't say it, because somebody's going to knock on your door who wants one and says, I'll take it. I'll open it for you. Too much fun. Okay, one more green one. Here we go. And you can foil bigger sheets of Polyglaze if you want. You know, I always cut my foils in half because it makes it easier to deal with. But these are 6 by 8 pieces. So you can almost foil a full sheet of Polyglaze at a time if you want. You would just have to use something like the ThermoWeb carrier sheets because they're longer. You could certainly cut it in half and use it with our carrier sheets. But the carrier sheets that ThermoWeb has are longer. And they're silicone lined, so they're very good. And if you are struggling at all with getting good adhesion, you can always pick up some of their carrier sheets and you can add a silicone shim into this carrier sheet. That might work for those of you that maybe use these kinds of carrier sheets, but you have a regular laminator. So it doesn't get quite as hot as these laminators that were designed for this type of foiling. They are hot, but they're not quite as hot, and they take a lot longer. Here's my extra little piece of green. They take a lot longer to warm up. So you definitely, ooh, I just thought of something else here too. Like, wouldn't this be so pretty as a decorative bit on top? That'd be really pretty. I might save these for something else and maybe post another picture later in the group of what else you can do. I think I'll do that. I think I'll use this one to do another one and show you how you can get like a filigree look using this same thing. Okay. Why the white Polyglaze instead of the black? Well, the reason why I came out with white Polyglaze is because when you have these negative pieces, some people like the look of the negative piece over black, where you get the black design through. And other people like the idea of using Polyglaze instead, because then you can have the white showing through. And it's just beautiful with things like snowflakes. Then you don't have to have black snowflakes. You can have white snowflakes coming through. So, all right. So let's turn this off again. I'm not going to make a mistake, so I won't have to turn it back on, I hope. I might make a mistake. Hey, mistakes happen. Oh my gosh, my floor is so sparkly. It looks so pretty. Okay, so we're going to cut this again. You like the way my mind, it's scary in my mind, Angie. It's scary in here. Okay, so now we've got that beautiful green. Yeah, I mean, you also have to look at the cost between the black and the white, and it may make more sense for this technique to use the black toner sheets instead of the white Polyglaze sheets. It's really up to you what works best for you. Okay, so I'm putting that there. I can't mess this up this time. Put this on top. I think I did cut it into my plate the first time. I think you guys are right. I didn't even notice. But, you know, I think I'm cutting into it now, actually. Well, it is what it is. It'll still work. think I did cut into it. Yeah, I see a light miss there, but see, it still works. So all I'm saying is it's not the end of the world. You won't damage your die or your plate. It's not going to damage it too much. The thing that Kathy Zilski pointed out yesterday in her video, because I watched her live, is when you don't cut into this plate and then you use this as the top plate, you never have to worry about little flecks or little indentations in what you're cutting, the way that you get with those clear plates. So it does make sense not to cut into it, but you know, it's a new tool. It's going to happen now and then, and it's not the end of the world. Lost my picker too. Okay. So now I have this one. So I have those three. I'm going to put this aside and we'll worry about digging that out later. So I really should be putting everything face down. So now I'm going to cut a little piece of this green and a little piece of this red right here. And I'm going to cut 2 bows. So maybe I'll just do them all with the big bow. I think I'll do them one at a time because I like the big bow for this technique. So I'm going to cut a bow. It is blade side down this time, so don't worry, I'm doing it right this time. I'm going to keep messing up. So, Jan, the lower settings of the fuse are good, like if you're using, say, Decofoil transfer gel, but you're doing it on vellum. So vellum is such a thin, delicate paper that you definitely don't want to have too high of a heat. Okay, so there's my first sparkly bow. Let's do a red one. I should flip it over. We'll do a red one. I am blade side down on my cutting mat. Yes, I know. It doesn't like scream out the other side, right? I don't really have to hold it for it to go through. How are your ears, Tom, with the new die cutting machine?
Well, that was fine. You were slamming those dies down, shaking out the things, and that's when I had to run.
Sorry. Sorry about that. Okay, so now I'm going to cut a blue one out right here.
If you're on the 0 setting, is that heat? Is there some heat?
It's just cool. So if you have cold laminating that you want to do, like for example, the Decofoil transfer gel, the Duo, doesn't really require heat. It just requires pressure. So you could run it through on 0 if you want. You can run it through on the heat setting too, but you could run it through on 0. There might be other techniques that require pressure. I know that there are cold laminating pouches. Like let's say you don't want to use a hot laminating pouch. They're more adhesive type things. The adhesive transfer sheets that ThermoWeb sells with the designs, you just need pressure. You could run it through your laminator with just that pressure instead of using heat, and that would be setting 0. Okay, so here's what Kathy Zilski did, and I thought it was amazing, and I thought we could use a cross die to do it. So she had a little die that made a ribbon on her package, and I thought we could use the cross as a ribbon. So I want to just measure this cross here to make sure that I cut my little box the right size. So this is about 1 7/8. So I think I'll make my little boxes 1 3/4 of an inch. So let me just clean up the edge here. So I'm going to make it 1 3/4 of an inch, and then I can make them all different heights. So I can make some packages bigger and I can make some packages smaller. So I think my first package, I'll make the red one tall. So that will be a 3-inch. I can't even make it taller. Let me try 3 1/4 inches. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, oh, no, I got to make it smaller than that because that's about 3 inches. So we'll cut this one down to 3 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere this onto my little thing here. I'm going to just trim the edges off from the back once I get it in place. And this is going to make a bow on my box here. Kathy, look what I'm doing. Isn't that cute? Definitely inspired by Kathy Zilski. Okay, so that's going to be my little box. Now, you can also put it on the top if you want, but I feel like if you put it on the top, you shouldn't have the side things. So I feel like it looks better here. This is almost like more of a front view of the box. And we'll bring it up just a little so you can see the tails. So that's going to be my first package. Now my second package, I'm going to make them all the same width. So I'm going to cut this down to that 1 3/4 of an inch again. 1 3/4 of an inch. And this one, okay, so the last one was 3 inches. So we'll make this one like 2.5 inches, and we'll see how that looks. Because I think we can stagger these next to each other, and it'll be so cute. And that one's going to go here. Like that. Oh my goodness. And then we'll have a tiny blue one in the front. And you can make these smaller too. They don't have to be exactly 1 3/4 of an inch, but I thought it might be fun to just do them, the 3 of them the same size. And we'll make this one like a small package. We'll make it like 2. So they go down in 1/2 inch increments. So we'll have this one here. And then we'll have this little shiny bit over here. That's going to be my look. I love it. 2 bows facing the opposite direction. Oh, you mean like this to make it that would be super cute. That's a great idea to cut 2 of them and you get the full bow look. That would be very cute. Good idea. See, I love lives because smart people out there, you smart crafters, have such great ideas. Okay, so now I want to take a piece of cardstock here, and I just want to get an idea if I'm going to have enough room to do this card the way I want to. So I don't have to put these in here, but I'm thinking of this kind of look where they're overlapped and they're kind of all grouped together like that. And then we'll have a little greeting that I cut out the other night for my little house card that I can just put right on here like this. So it's going to be a very, very simple card. But I think I can cut this down a little bit. So let's see what size this is. So this is 3 3/4 by 5. Let's cut it out with master layouts too. Let's get the little decorative edge in there. I think we need it. Okay, so master layouts 2, we need the rectangle that's stitched and the plain one. And where did I put my platform? Here it is. So for this, if you're cutting rectangles like this, it's always easier to send it through on an angle. It just makes the pressure less because you're not going in with like a straight line of steel. You're going in on an angle. So I would definitely turn it on an angle. Okay. We've got that one. Now we need a black panel. So I do have some black cardstock here. Flip this. And we're going to do the same thing with the plain die. We're going to turn it a little bit on an angle. And this will give me a nice border around the outside. Okay. I just love every once in a while you see something out there and it's a great card. And you know my friend Kathy Z always makes great cards, but when I saw that and I thought that looks like a cross to me and I have a cross, I thought I had to try it. Okay, so we could take these down a little bit if these are too big. You can make them any size you want, but what do you think? Do you think we should make them a little smaller or do you guys like this size? Because we could do it. I think it's going to have to go this way. Maybe not though. Yeah, it's going to have to go this way, but I feel like Do you think we should go a little smaller? You guys are good with this? Yes, putting the packages on black. I did a card like that last year where I did outline them in black. Should we try that? Should we try outlining them in black? Why not? Why not? We have time. We have a little bit of time. It'll be quick cuts because we know the sizes, right? Let's see what it looks like. It will make them pop. So this was 1 3/4 by 3. So we want to go 1 3/4 plus 1/8 by 3 plus 1/8. So if we had that little pop of black there, that would definitely make them stand out. I wish I had a black foil. They do make a black foil. Then we could put that on there like that. That is going to make it pop a little bit more. I like the idea. Okay, 2 1/2. So we need 1 7/8.
You could shadow with black too.
Oh yeah, definitely. 1 7/8. I don't need to use that much paper. 1 7/8 by 2 1/2 plus 1/8. That will work. And then the final one, I don't know why I want this to be square. This is 1 3/4. Can we do it 1 3/4 and make it square? Just make this last little one square. I feel like it's going to be a cute little square package. This is hard to cut though, 1 3/4, 1 1/2. Oh no, wrong. So it was 1 3/4, so it's going to be 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. It's not like I won't use the black cardstock. So I never worry that I cut it wrong. I never go, oh no, I cut it wrong. I just toss it and keep going. Okay, so I love that idea. That was your idea out there to outline in black. So let's first put these on. So I'm going to get some Connect glue. I have so many Connect glues here all ready to go. So let's do the Connect glue on the cross. Don't think it has to go all the way to the bottom, but we'll see. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. Now you see, when you turn it over, you can see the little back parts that have to be trimmed off. And then I'll just trim those with scissors. That'll be easy to do. Okay. And then we could take a little foam square and pop this up so we've got some dimension. Let's do that. But let's put it on the black first. My little paper cutter has seen better days. I think it's getting time to get a new one. Doesn't always cut for me the way it used to. But paper cutters are made to die, I guess, at some point, right? Okay, so we've got this little package there. Oh, it's so cute. Even just doing one would be plenty. You know, you don't have to do all 3 packages if you don't want to. So let's see. I'm going to have to cut this down a little bit. I don't need much. I think I need to make it even smaller. I wonder if ThermoWeb can make micro foam squares for me for these kinds of techniques. Okay, and then we can put it right on the center there because you can still see the little flaps flapping. But you see how it's kind of fun that it's 3-dimensional. I like that. Okay, let's do the next one in green. I don't know how Kathy organizes her scraps. You don't want to know how I organize my scraps. You want to see how I organize my scraps? I'm you. That's how I organize my scraps. I don't take a lot of time to organize. I know I should, but I don't take a lot of time to organize. I'm very inspired by those crafters that have everything really organized, but I need some work. I know Kathy was organizing. She has a new little container that she puts all of her foam squares in. I don't even want to show you my foam squares. My foam squares make that box I just showed you look very organized. She's my organized hero. Okay, so now I'll put this on top. Foam square center, yes. That's it, Kathy. I love it. It's brilliant. Okay, we got the second one here. And then again, we need a tiny little foam square. So I'm just going to cut this in half and in half again. Now I've got a couple of them. That's all you need. There we go. So that's 2. Is that our cable guy, Tom? Our IT guy? Not our cable guy. Our IT guy. Ooh, look. That's like a... I love that square. Glad we did the square. Yeah. So, Tom, you have a word of the day?
Okay.
Oh, you do?
Okay. So, let's see. It's a quick one. Phrase of the day.
It's a phrase?
Yes. So if you're Santa Claus,
yeah,
and your help is getting a little bit rambunctious, and you have to kind of give them a timeout, you would be exercising elf restraint or elf control. Exercising elf restraint. That's Santa Claus phrase of the day.
Oh, we're doing holidays now.
Right.
Christmas phrases. I love it.
Back to the dead space.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. That was not one I heard before. You like to surprise me, don't you?
Oh, I love to.
That is funny. I like that we're doing seasonal words of the day. Very fun. Okay. So this one's going to go on top now. The question is, do we do any grounding behind this, or do we go with the clean and simple look? I think I know what you guys are going to say. I think you want the clean and simple look. But if we did a grounding thing, we would have to just do a little ink blending over a stencil. But these images are fairly big, and I don't think you're going to see a grounding panel. I think the... Sue, that's very cute. I think this is going to be enough right here like this. It's huge, and I think it's plenty. And then if we do our little Merry Christmas right down here, oh yes, I think this is just plenty glittery and sparkly enough. Yes, I think clean and simple we're going with. Okay, so let's do just a plain white card base for this one. And I am going to do a side fold because I don't want to haul up my big paper cutter. So I'm going to do a side fold, although I do like the top fold. Let me do a top fold. I'll haul it up. Here we go. I grabbed that thing just by the handle. I don't know if you ever watched my bloopers video, but I was paper cutting and the handle came right off in a video. It was pretty funny. Crazy stuff. And then I need my score buddy. Here she is. So I'm going to score this at 5.5 inches. And we'll fold it. Can you move the blue over to show the green ribbon? Well, let's see. We'll give it a try and see. Let's get this on there first. I probably could have made all of the presents a little bit smaller. So you could try that too. If you're going to make one of these, just try making your gifts a little bit smaller so they don't take up so much space. Let's zoom in. Where is my remote? Here it is. It's under my foil. So we'll zoom in just a little bit here. There we go. Okay. So yeah, I could try that. Let's put this here. Let's put this here. And let's see if we can, I don't know. I think it's going to cover a little. I think it has to cover because if I put it here, it's too lined up with this one. So I feel like it has to cover that. But I think it's okay because you still get to see the ribbon up here and off to the side. But definitely, we could have made the gifts smaller. And you could do whatever size you want because I'm going to make it even top and side here at the top. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to come in and make it more even over here to here for balance. Does that make sense? Like if I had it over here too much, it just doesn't look even. I got to bring it so that it's even here as well. Okay. There we go. I like that. And then we're going to do this last one. See, my eye tells me that I have to have an even spacing between the red and the blue, the way I have between the white and the red. If I go here, it's not going to make me happy. It's not going to make my eye happy. I got to go over that line. So I'm doing it. And I want that white line in there too. I like the look of that. I am going to come down and have this be somewhat even with this as well. It can be up a little higher, but okay, there we go. All right, and then we're just going to pop Merry Christmas right down here. And it'll go right over the edge of that green one. I feel like that gives me good balance. You know, we all have our little things. But I really like the way this came out. And I think it's really, we could go in a little more. Nah, I'm going to take it right to the edge. I feel like it's got good balance. It's a clean and simple card. We could put a little, but see the sparkle? It just makes it so happy with the foil. I really like the way that came out. Now we could put a few little, I think if we were going to do anything, I would want to do the little silver things. Maybe like 2 up here and 1 down here. I'll lay them on there. We don't have to commit. We can say no. I've got both my pick tools. A mess. I didn't even think I was going to be here today, so I'm very happy to even be here. We could put like 1 here. I don't know if we're going to like it. And then maybe let me find 1 more small one. I don't want gold because I feel that blue just makes it feel cooler. Gotta find 1 more tiny one in this mix. Here's a little one. I don't know. What do you think? Do you like having the little extra embellishment in there? I kind of do. You could actually, if you really wanted to jazz it up, you could find the big silver ones and you could pop a silver one in the center of each of these gifts too, if you wanted to do something a little bit more. I think that makes that stand out a bit. I mean, you know. Kathy, are you saying boop? I feel like that might jazz it up a little bit more, like that. Okay. All right, let's do that. And I feel like that just adds a tiny something. I don't know. Hey, not everything's for everyone. You know, we all have our little things that we try. And then the good thing is I try it live and then you guys can go, ugh, no, I don't like that. And when you make yours, yours is going to look way better. And my second one's going to look way better because this is my practice card. Remember, I always say that, guys. These are the practice cards the first time through because I haven't made this card before. That's gluey. I put a lot of glue on there. I forgot that, you know, foil doesn't absorb, so we probably don't need quite that much glue. Oh boy. I don't know. I'm gonna put it in there. I have all three sizes. These are my baubles. We're gonna just call them baubles, little baubles on the card. There we go. Okay, so I feel like that's good. I like it. And I think it turned out pretty cute. What do you guys think? What do you think, Tom?
It looks fun.
And you know, all you have to do is change out happy birthday, right? Get rid of Merry Christmas, put happy birthday. And this is a cute little birthday card. And it's also a cute little card that kind of makes you think, oh, this is like a gift. And you could put maybe one inside on its side and then just slip a gift card in there. You know what I mean? Like have one instead of in this orientation, have it in this orientation and slip a gift card in behind it. Just attach it on the sides. So there's lots of ways that you can kind of jazz this up to make it a birthday card or any other card that's a gift. You know, that any other season or holiday that would be gift worthy. All right, so Tom, let's give it away.
All right, drum roll, please.
Just like that.
And it's yours, Victoria Ratajewski.
Yay, Victoria! Congratulations. This is coming home to you. All you have to do is send your name and address to info@ginakdesigns.com and we'll get it out to you. Well, my goodness, this was fun today with all the mistakes and all of the internet woes and all the things. I loved having all of your input. You gave me great ideas to make this pop even more. I don't think it would pop as much without the blacks. So thank you for suggesting that. And yeah, this was so much fun. So I'm going to try to get a 5-minute card video done tomorrow. We'll see if I can. But if not, we will definitely be back on Tuesday night with another Stampin' Chat Live. In the meantime, everybody, stay safe and healthy. We love you all so very much. And we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.